Welcome everyone to our fourth in the series of the I Am Legendary mini interview series. And today we're doing something kind of fun because we are turning tables on Milagros, the beautiful Milagros Suriano-Rivera, who has been our interviewer and host for the past 3 interviews, is now going to be interviewed about her legend experience by yours truly, Amber Samaya Gould. And I am, like Milagros, an intentional creativity color of women teacher and a guild member. And I am a MUSEA team member. And I am such a deep lover of this community, of intentional creativity, and of the power and impact of the way painting, such as legend, painting our legendary self, can really transform our life and our experience of ourself and our story. So we are here to talk about that today because we have the Legend painting course coming up, Legend Cosmic Cowgirls course. I always like to make sure I say the Cosmic Cowgirls part because that is the juiciest part of all, the course that was created by our very own Cosmic Cowgirls. And Milagros, I would love for you to introduce yourself as the interviewee to this conversation today, and just tell us about you and tell us about how you first came into contact with intentional creativity and got into the Legend course. What's your story, my sister?
Whew, thank you so much for that, Amber, and I'm so glad to be here. Well, I've taken Legend twice. So I've been a Color of Women teacher of intentional creativity since 2019.
Mm-hmm.
And my journey started about 3 years ago when I initially moved to Texas from New York. And I actually took apothecary. That was the first class I took. And my first, during that was the first major shift I had and introduction to intentional creativity as far as the painting process. And it was then that I met Shiloh. And in meeting Shiloh and going to Sonoma for to support an in-person class with Shiloh and Jonathan for apothecary, meeting the wonderful community and how it was held and witnessed and partook in the ceremonies and everything, which I had never experienced. It just was just so powerful, like the tears and the healing that happened just in that one in-person circle and event. I just knew I had to become a Color of Woman teacher. And taking my first Legend was more of a journey in awakening for me, where that was the first time I actually experienced looking at myself as if I were a legend and just the possibilities and actually creating a painting and giving it the pen and saying, what is her story?
Yeah.
And it was just so powerful for me. So powerful.
Yeah, being able to even ask that question, because we don't usually ask that question. We don't usually take the objective view of ourselves and say, here's the pen self. What is the story that you want to tell about yourself? Maybe the story that, I actually haven't heard until this moment, right? What's the legendary story? And what comes through can be really surprising. Very, very surprising, actually.
Very surprising.
I'm looking at your Legend painting now. It's so the lighting is so beautiful. I'm actually just going to make it so just you are on the screen, and I wonder if you could just talk to us about her just for a minute.
Okay.
And tell us her name.
All right. Well, her name is Malika, Queen of the Seven Feminine Powers. And the reason I named her that way is because this particular legend, which was part of Vivid 2020, was a different journey than my original legend. And we were actually just exploring the 7 facets of our feminine selves. And those were, the poet and the priestess and the provocateur, the peacemaker, the painter. It was just very prolific. And being able to embrace the fact that as women, we don't have to just be one thing. We can be so many things. And there's so many different parts of ourselves that show up in different aspects of our lives, different situations and relationships, and not really being able to embrace all of them. And this process for me did. So a few of the symbols that came up, like this was my talisman, which is a symbol of my connection to my ancestors. The flame is the symbol for the passion and my love and what I love to do and what's lighting me up, my sacred spark. Um, the ally was definitely a surprise, the turtle, because we had to go on this visioning through the desert and find this ally. Actually, it was the valley. And I wasn't really connected to animals, but for some reason a turtle showed up and I didn't understand what that significance was. And I realized after doing some research that the turtle is a symbol of, one, the feminine, two, it's a symbol of resilience. You know, they have longevity, they're wise, you know, they're old, and it's just a reminder for me to take my time, because I found myself in a place where I was competing with the others in the class and seeing what others were doing, and they were in a further, you know, off on their journey, at least from my perspective. And it was just a reminder that slow and steady is my pace, and it's okay to be where I am,
Yeah.
and it's not a race.
Yeah. That's beautiful. And I love the way that the turtle is in this body of water
Yes,
that's
that's the stream of
flowing.
consciousness, my flow.
Yeah.
And then the 7 cowrie shells, which represent the feminine and my African ancestry. But also, I love them because they also sort of kind of resemble the vulva,
Yeah.
and that juiciness and that just all of the flow coming from it, all of the wisdom. And it's actually resonating on my djembe, which is an African drum,
Oh, yeah.
on the handprints.
Is that your own handprint? Did you do your
That's
own
my,
hand? Yeah.
yeah, that's my own handprint.
So I have to ask you, because I find this powerful with handprints. Do you ever put your hand onto the painting, right into that handprint, when you need to feel connected to your legendary self?
Yes, I keep her on my altar usually. I brought it down for today, but I do, you know, touch it. I ask her for support and wisdom and just some clarity, and see what she brings.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. All right, I'm going to put us back together here for a second. Okay. So I am curious, when you came to Legend, was Legend the first big painting you had done? And if so, what was the intention you came to the Legend painting experience with?
This legend, no, it wasn't. I had taken apothecary, I think, 2 times as well prior to this legend. So I was prepared for a journey, but again, because it was done during the Vivid 2020 festival, and the way it was taught was totally different. So it was a totally new experience for me. And it was just really, I don't even know how to explain it. Like, just showing up and knowing and look and being open to whatever showed up, because I had done other intentional creativity type paintings. My fear of a large canvas has way gone. You know, I think I can go bigger than 30 by 40. And knowing the process gave me a little bit more permission to just surrender, because I'm already at the point where that's the secret of it. Anyone that comes to any of the classes and any of the other students that I've actually witnessed and given any type of support to, I notice we get stuck at the layers. It's just the layers, the process. And now I stopped trying to control what comes up. Like, if you asked me to draw this or what was going to be on this canvas, I could never have even imagined what came through. And that's what makes it so much more powerful for me.
Yeah.
Because when I look at the painting, I still look and like, I can't believe I did that.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like, she just showed up.
Yeah. I really resonate with what you're saying. And I think it's really important, for any of you who haven't painted on a large canvas before in the intentional creativity method, and haven't had, your first Legend painting experience. you can look at a finished painting and you can immediately go into comparison mode, like, oh, I could never paint like that. I'm not a painter. I'm not this. I'm not that. But the truth is that most of us showed up to these painting processes without ever having done a large painting, without considering ourselves to be painters. But the thing that made the biggest difference, and how so much beauty was able to come through, and so much self access happens, is that this is a layered process. This is a guided process. This is a group process where we're in this circle of energy together. We're in a container together. We're led by Shilohsophia. We're led by guild members. And every step of the way, you get to spend time in a layer of experience with your painting. And so it's not like you're sitting there in one day and you just have to paint this amazing painting. You're on a journey.
Yes, every layer is revealing.
That's right. Just like Milagros, you were just saying about the surrender, every part of it.
When I show people my pictures, like layer by layer, they can't believe, like when I can't believe you did that. I'm like, no, you have to see how it started. And I love showing them the intention.
Yeah.
That's how we start all of our processes, just the intention. And just from there is like, there's probably 15 layers of paint on this thing.
That's right. You know what, Milagros? I actually have your legend video of the process. Do you think that we should maybe share it?
That'd be awesome.
Okay, let me see if I can pull that up. So bear with me
I didn't realize that you had that.
Your Red Thread community, because Milagros, you did share this with me, and I'm pretty sure I have it written on my computer. So I love how we roll here. We just think of some things at the last moment sometimes, and then we go with it. So let's see if I can find it.
Okay. Yeah.
Milagros, your legend video, where did it go? I know I've got it. Okay. We're going to find it and share it.
All right.
I hope this is the right one. Okay, Milagros, don't hold me responsible if this is you like doing cartwheels outside or something, okay?
I won't. All of it. Just show up to the mystery.
Okay, here we go, people. We don't really know what's going to happen now. That's it. Oh, wait.
Nope, that's not it.
Let's try this one more time. Getting close. I just really, I really want people to see what we're talking about when we're talking about.
Because you can't explain it. They see it and right away, the first thing is like, I'm like, you don't understand. There was plenty of tears and frustration and ugly phases and layers of glaze. A lot of people like glazing is one of the parts that we take this part of us integrating and sort of shifting from one place to the next phase.
That's right.
I do that like after every layer.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's almost hard to explain to anyone who's new to the painting process about what that actually feels like when you're doing it too. Because you talked about being in the mystery, and I feel like that's the exact words, is that for a lot of our lives and our personal spiritual journeys, we're not necessarily in the mystery in the same way that we are when we step into an intentional creativity process and we're just sort of letting things arise. We're patiently just letting things arise. We are watching, we are waiting, we are paying attention. And I'm still looking for your video here, Milagros. But what I'm thinking about is what we talked about sort of offline before, and that was actually the inspired inquiries from Jennifer Owen. And I would love if you could talk about those two and how being with the Oracle is a part of the journey here. And then as you're talking about that,
definitely. Yeah. Right. So there's plenty of different, steps and phases that we went through as the journey. And one of them, Jennifer Joy, she has some amazing processes, and one of the ones that was part of the legend journey is called oracleizing. It's an inspired inquiry, and basically she had us look to find our own gnosis, like knowing what you know, and created a process where we would have to look for like 3 heads, 3 hands, 3 feet, and connect with the energy of our inner seeker our shadow and our wise one.
Right.
And for me, the one that called to me the most was the, the what the shadow wrote to me. So it was like we found these aspects and then we give them the pen and have them write to us. And this is what my shadow told me. What I want you to know is that my intention was to cloak you from the world of men because your light has always been bright. You thought your light was taken away that night long ago, but it wasn't. It was just me camouflaging you so that you would be less of a threat to them, hence keeping you safe. I want you to know that after a while, I realized that I wasn't protecting you. I was preserving myself
Mm,
because if you found your light and embraced it, then I would be alone.
mm,
And this is the type of medicine that, this journey brings for you.
yeah. Wow. That is so beautiful. And so you had, I think we should maybe share too that there's a designated journal for
Mhm.
this process.
Yes.
And so you do quite a bit of writing. I would say, I think writing is part of where the medicine comes from because you are sitting with the oracle and you're letting her speak.
Mhm.
How many pages did you fill? More than you can count?
More than I can count. And if you're if you're, and this stretches you as well because writing is something that's, I wasn't as comfortable with. So learning that and stretching in that way, it brings up a lot of stuff that's in your subconscious.
Yeah.
So the journaling is great for letting go of those things that you might not generally say to yourself. But when you look at it from the perspective of the painting or even your arm, it's like your arm is hurting. Like, hey, let your arm write you a letter and tell you what it is that it wants from you. Because it's usually any type of pain or emotion has a story to tell.
Yeah.
So learning that was really, valuable as part of this, journey, and claiming it is because you see yourself from the perspective of all of these different archetypes and you get to relate to yourself, but, as a witness,
Yeah.
and not the storyteller.
And so with this whole process and where it took you, what would you say was sort of the diamond of insight and you've used the word gnosis before that came through. I feel like it's connected to that.
Um, Knowing, witnessing myself, as I said, that's great. That's one diamond to know also that as women, we tend to always feel alone when we're going through difficult times or journeying in through life.
Yeah.
And this process helped me learn to be part of community, but also not so much be there because I am a natural caregiver to support, but to be vulnerable enough to let myself be held and know that I'm amongst my sisters, and trusting the inner voice that you develop by taking this process. It's, you get to see all parts of you, but then you get to, integrate them so that you can hear yourself more clearly and step into that legend,
Mm.
and
Mm-hmm.
just having faith and knowing that what I need is going to reveal itself if I just take the time to listen and trust what's in my heart.
Yeah, that's beautifully said. I just appreciate the way that you articulate, what comes through your experience that feels resonant for me as well. I think with the legend experience, the first one for me, and I did the one you did as well with Vivid, and now I'm so excited to be starting this next one that's beginning August 1st. But the first feeling I have when I step to the canvas is exhilaration. It's exhilaration because I trust the medicine that comes through this now.
Oh
I
yeah.
trust it. I'm a little bit more familiar with it, and I actually have developed, just this trust and this ability to just surrender into the process. And I wanted to share that as well. That when you first show up, there's so much that you're unsure of, right?
Oh.
And then after a while, when you start to show up to these big, beautiful painting processes again, you still are uncertain of what's going to come through, but you trust the medicine. and you see how it impacts you. And I'm curious. I still haven't been able to find your video, but if I can't find it, then what we'll do is we're going to share it in the comments to this thread.
Yes.
So I'll find it, upload it so that you all can go back into the comments after and see her legend. It's kind of like a slideshow of the different layers of the process. So you can get an idea of how that feels. But before we sort of start bringing this to a close, I wanted to ask you, what would be a message that you would want to share with those listening, or especially those who have never taken Legend before, if when it comes to supporting them and inspiring them to perhaps make that big decision to step into it?
I would say to those considering Legend to just do it. The fact that I'm sitting here with Amber having this discussion with you is my affirmation and confirmation that this medicine works. Because ever since I took my first Legend class, like, things have just opened up for me. It's not about a pretty picture. It's about the process. And if you surrender to every single layer, and it just happens, and just, you'll see. But you have to choose to step into it. I would say take the leap, and we are here to hold you.
Take the leap, and we are here to hold you. And we are connected in Red Thread and Red Thread Circle. That is a big part of what we do. I don't actually have Red Thread with me because I'm actually on the road right now, but I do have this beautiful rose petal that is surrounded with beautiful, lush, red, deep, dark tones. So I share that. But yeah, we have our Red Thread connection. We have our sisterhood. And when you step into the experience of Legend in Circle, you are, I don't even know how to say it. It's like you're going into temple time with other women.
You start looking forward to it. You really do, because I think that's what we need more than anything else. But the painting is what catalyzes everything. Yeah, it just catalyzes all of the connection, everything you're claiming, all of that you bring into your heart. It just makes it happen. I just don't know how to explain it. Some people think, people outside of the circle, like, really, they listen to me? I'm like, it's just, you have to experience it. You just can't. You have to experience it.
Something that ShilohSophia has spoken about a few times is that witness reality. I'm witnessing you with what you're sharing, with the insights that are coming through, with the transformations that are happening. And, I can even see it in you. Like, often you'll see in our community, when even on the physical level, you're like, wow, I can see it in your eyes. I can see it in your smile. I can hear it in the sound of your voice. Like, something shifted for you. And when you're in circle with other women, that gets noticed. Those subtleties get picked up on, and women witness you. And then you are also witnessing them. And basically, it's like we're just affirming each other's continued healing and continued transformation, and just like the deep beauty that comes from accessing more of our true, essential, legendary selves. And that's that witness reality too, that I think is so key to the Legend experience, is that you're really not there doing it alone. Like, we do it together. We share with each other. We meet in circle every single week for 6 weeks. We have calls that are hosted by guild members, and ShilohSophia shows up. We get to share, we get to show and tell, we get to express what's been coming up for us. That happens in the chat. That happens when we actually let people put their hand up and speak. So that's what we mean about journey, and it's journeying with others. Like, this is a whole container where connection and witness reality happen.
It is a true rite of passage. I've gone through some things, and I've never had a lot of ceremony in my life. And this painting process has brought that ceremony to my life. And it's reminded me of how sacred I am, and to see the sacred in others, as women, especially, how powerful we are, but we're even more powerful when we unite from the heart.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much, Milagros. And thank you, everyone, for being here and witnessing us. This is a witness reality happening right here. And the reason we wanted to share these conversations and these mini interviews is because, you know, there's a deeper thread of experience here. There's a weightiness, there's a juiciness to this particular painting experience that we really want to convey. And we want to invite through that inspiration. You know, we want you to feel invited into something and inspired into something. And that's what we're here to do. So as you know, Legend starts really soon. It starts on Sunday, you all. Sunday, August 1st. That's a few days away. And you can learn more and register at livingyourlegend.com. So that's www.livingyourlegend.com. I'm not going to spell it out because I think you all know how to spell that. livingyourlegend.com. We're starting on Sunday. It's going to run for 6 weeks. And remember, that 6 weeks of a supported experience. So we have weekly circles where we gather and connect and share. We have our own little private group in the MUSEA app. And that's really fun. You can share pictures of your legend in progress, or poems that come through, or pieces from your writing, or pictures of you being a hot mess covered in paint and drinking your afternoon vino. Whatever it is that you want to share, you can share and be witnessed. And a lot of times we're just having a lot of fun. And that is the one thing we want to convey too. As much as there's the deep healing and connection and transformation, there's also just, this is where our muses get to have a party together.
Yes.
So without further ado, once again, thank you for being here, everybody. And thank you, Milagros. I just really want to take this moment to honor you and breathe into that honoring and really feel it in my heart. Just honoring you and witnessing you for being the legendary woman that you are, for showing up in legendary ways in this community, for inspiring, for speaking from your heart and your vulnerability, and from being a true feminine leader on our team. We are so blessed to have you, and I'm so grateful to call you my sister. So,
my sister, I love you.
Love you too. And we love you all. Everyone. And we'll see you again next week, because we're going to keep talking about this.
Yes, we are.
And once Legend starts, we are still going to have a little mini interview next Wednesday at the same time, 3 p.m. Pacific time. So please stay tuned for that. Join us for Legend. If you're feeling the tug in your heart and your muse is getting excited. And may love be at the center of all our choices.